You're in the sweet spot, baby. You're in the sweet spot, girl. You're in the sweet spot, darling. It's a magical kingdom in a mixed up world. You're in the sweet spot, baby. You're in the sweet spot, girl. You're in the sweet spot, darling. It's a magical kingdom in a mixed up world. Welcome to the Sweet Spot Podcast. My name is Lynn, your host, and Ken's my co-host. Ken, what's going on?
Oh, Lynn, I am so happy to be here. I'm looking forward to this episode, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you could make it. We are two former Disneyland Custodial cast members, and we host this podcast. We are the #1 Disneyland podcast, hosted by two former Disneyland Custodial cast members.
#1.
And we also authors of the books Queen and the Kingdom. You can still get them while supplies last. You can still get...
While supplies last. Get them now. Operators are standing by. No.
Signed copies on our website, thesweetspot.com. And there's a package where you can get both books if you want. If not, you can get them on Amazon. They won't be signed, though. And also you can get on Kindle or where digital books are found, and audiobook for the first book. The second book, the recording is done. I'm just doing editing. It's probably going to take me a few more months, and we hope to have it out sometime this summer for the second book, the audio. We also have a Patreon where if you'd like to help support the show and keep it running, we have a way to do that through Patreon. And what you get is you get to help us out, and you get a bonus episode once a month that's that we put out through the Patreon. They send out a link or for you to listen to it. And then we also do where you can join in the when we record our Disneyland Resort current events, and you can join in the chat room for that live as we're recording it, and then that will be put on our and part of our regular show. We do that once a month, and we announce it about a week or so beforehand, a few times to remind you. And you get to hear some of that tonight when we record our current events. We do have a new Patreon, though, that I want to announce.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we want to thank Nico Bressler for becoming a patron. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It's, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
But it costs money to do it. So we appreciate the support.
Yeah, for sure. And you can join at patreon.com/The Sweet Spot, or you can go to our website, thesweetspot.com, and you can click on the Patreon link there, and it will help you navigate through to sign up. We have an event coming up in May, so about a month from now, a month from today actually, is the Disneyana Show and Sell. Now, the whole weekend, Saturday, they have an event where they're going to be having like a live discussion with some like Bob Gurr and Garner Holt and Kim Irvine. There's going to be some others there, and you can do that also. But then on Sunday, and you can sign up for that on I think you just Google Disneyana Fan Club, I think, and you'll find all the info there. Or then on Sunday, May 15th, is the show and sell, and what that is just a lot of vendors and authors and people selling things. It's really neat, and it's really a low-key, like if you've been to D23 Expo, it's not anything close to that, but it is good, and it's a little more intimate. You have more time. You can talk to some of these people who might, who would be there, different authors. Sometimes I've seen Imagineers there. Disney legends, actresses, actors that have been in Disney movies have been there. So check that out. It's on May 15th in Orange, and it's at a hotel there. But we have a banner on our website, and you can just click on that. It'll give you all the information on where it is and how much. I think it's only $5 or $10, and it's starts at 9:30 on Sunday morning. It goes till 5 p.m. And we will be there selling our books. And if you already bought our books but you don't have them signed, you can bring them and we'll sign them. Or you can buy them there. We'll have a button for you, for the listeners. If you come in and you say, hey, listen to your podcast, we will do that. And then Ken will be charging for photos. So if you want to get a photo with Ken, he'll be charging for that.
That's only because everybody wants to get a photo with me.
I know.
So I've got the perfect face for podcasting.
Yes. So that's going on, and we're really excited about that. And of course, this summer we will be at D23 Expo all 3 days. Okay. Well, I think we need to move on with the show. And we're going to go right into our current events. Now we're going to have the current events. Ken, do you have anything for us tonight?
Well, let's talk about nighttime entertainment at the resort.
Okay.
Some new information coming in. This report comes from Brady McDonald at the Orange County Register, and as he points out, Encanto show serves as delightful encore after Disneyland fireworks. So the new Encanto projection show on the It's a Small World facade debuted on Monday, April 11th, during a steady drizzle that made Disneyland sparkle amid a spectrum of colorful lights. The new 4-minute projection show will play multiple times nightly between 9 p.m. and park closing. So one of the benefits of our version of It's a Small World at Disneyland, as opposed to the Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World, is you can do these projections on it. I would have to think that if they had to rebuild Disneyland in the same place all over again, think about how they would have changed things up to accommodate, these projection shows, Of course, when these buildings were originally built, that wasn't even a consideration. So it's interesting they've been able to adapt to it. On opening night, the first Encanto show played at 9:15 p.m. as an encore to the firework-less Mickey's Mix Magic, just a few minutes after the nighttime spectacular came to an end. Crowds that stretched down the Small World Midway stuck around after Mickey's Mix Magic in anticipation of the new show featuring the hit song We Don't Talk About Bruno. The Encanto show began with what seemed like the Small World clock tower stirring to life on the quarter hour before dissolving into an eerie green that cloaked the attraction facade and midway. A cheer went up among the crowd when a hooded Bruno appeared on the Small World clock tower. I'm wondering if anyone in our chat, any of our Patreons that have joined us for the chat, have seen this. It just started a few evenings ago, so I wonder if any of them have had a chance to see it yet. The challenge for the new Encanto show is following the incessantly upbeat Mickey's Mix Magic that pulsates in a kaleidoscope of color. The mid-tempo cha-cha-cha salsa style of We Don't Talk About Bruno is no match for the bombastic bass-heavy beat of It's a Good Time theme song of Mickey's Mix Magic when it comes to beats per minute. That's what Brady McDonald's writing, and he continues. Disneyland isn't saying exactly what time the Encanto show is playing each night, in part to discourage crowds from milling in the Small World Midway before each performance. The shows are intended to be a surprise and delight, but that didn't stop the crowds from filling the Midway on opening night in anticipation of the new production. Yeah, it's that's interesting. They're not going to have, they don't want to tell you when it's going to be. It's just kind of, he's going to hang out and wait for it.
I don't know. So
as the article said, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say no one has seen it yet, but Patrick said next week he is.
Next week, yeah, I want a full report.
Christine's seen it on YouTube. I haven't even seen it. Yeah,
that's one of the great things about YouTube is you can see all this stuff, whether or not you can make it to the park yourself.
Right.
Encanto show times should become a little easier to figure out once the Disneyland Forever fireworks and the Main Street Electrical Parade return on April 22nd. The Encanto projection shows will play in between and around the nighttime spectaculars, likely on the quarter or half hour. It's important to remember the Encanto show will only play on the Small World facade and won't appear on Sleeping Beauty Castle or Tom Sawyer Island like other Disneyland nighttime spectaculars. It will also not be on the Hogwarts Castle, Lynn. So.
It won't? Okay.
No.
All right.
No, they couldn't come to an agreement with Universal to sync that up. Well, it's one more thing to check out at night, and hopefully our listeners will enjoy it and let us know what they think about it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
The official Disney Parks blog covered that story as well. As they point out, during the day, you can also visit with Mirabelle, the young hero from the film, at Frontierland's Zocalo Park in a colorful photo location that pays homage to the Madrigal family from Colombia. And coming April 22nd, Main Street Electrical Parade returns to Disneyland Park and celebrates its 50th anniversary with a spectacular new grand finale float that brings together stylized scenes from more than a dozen Disney and Pixar stories, including Encanto, and sparkling lights depict the Casita, Magical Butterflies, and Miracle Candle from the film, with Mirabelle and her cousin Antonio represented as animated dolls atop their section of the float. So, any fans of the movie, here's your chance to see the stuff in person.
Sounds good.
All right, Laughing Place covered the story, so you can click through all of. By the way, as always, all of these will be in our current event show notes on our website at thesweepspot.com, so you can click through and get the whole story if you'd like. So, speaking of nighttime spectaculars, Disneyland to use virtual queue for World of Color Nighttime Spectacular. And this is another report from Brady McDonald in the Register. DCA will use a virtual queue distribution system for World of Color when the Nighttime Spectacular returns on April 22nd, according to Disneyland officials. The Main Street Electrical Parade and Disneyland Forever Fireworks Show will not use a virtual queue for the Genie Plus or the Genie Plus service when the Nighttime Spectaculars return on April 22nd. Audience plans for the return of Fantasmic on. Oh, okay, that was kind of awkwardly written. They don't know what they're going to do with Fantasmic. They haven't announced what they're going to do with Fantasmic in terms of the audience. The World of Color virtual queue will open daily at noon on the Disneyland app. Daily visitors and annual pass holders must be inside Disneyland or DCA to access the virtual queue at no additional cost. World of Color virtual queue slots will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis visitors won't be able to choose between show times. That's a big deal. Let me read that again. Visitors won't be able to choose between show times if there is more than one World of Color performance on a particular night, and will get the first available slot. Disneyland highly recommends, but does not require, visitors use the World of Color virtual queue with standby spots for the show expected to be very limited. So they're going to make you, if you don't use the virtual queue, they're going to tell you to put on a blindfold. You can't watch the show.
Yeah.
You can't watch the show if you don't use the virtual. No, noon, huh? You know, so
Yeah.
if you're the kind of person that says, well, I'm just going to go at night and watch these things, well, you're not going to get a virtual queue slot unless they don't fill up.
Yeah, and I was looking into this, and you don't have to, unless you said this, I was reading the chat here, but you don't have to be, because say if you had you start your day off at Disneyland with your park hopper, you can still get the virtual queue at 12 from Disneyland. It's just at 1 o'clock,
Yes.
you have to wait till 1 where you can go over there.
Well,
obviously.
you can get the virtual queue, but you still have to wait to get over there, to park hop. Yeah, so either you can be in either park to get it. So, visitors who don't have a smartphone can visit guest relations to inquire about non-digital ways of joining the World of Color queue, and to be snickered at because you just don't have a smartphone. No, I added that last part.
You could buy one there. They'll have them for sale.
That's what they should do, is they should sell them there, saying, look at this for the low price of $5,000. It's I'm wondering what people think about this. This is you not knowing which show you can get a reservation for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, because there's some people who want to watch the first show and then leave,
Right.
or they want to watch the first show and run around on other attractions. It's kind of hard to, it's going to run up against some of your other plans, probably. I mean, that's it's going to be interesting to see how it smooths out.
Christine thinks virtual queue is a good idea for the night shows. I agree, because then you don't have to spend time camping out for hours, right?
Right. The Fantasmic used to have people, hours and hours before the first show.
Like 5 o'clock, we'd see people putting down their blankets. Yeah.
It's 4 hours ahead of time. We're gonna, so if it can alleviate that, that's great. Okay. Well, Laughing Place does cover that story, and there is, let's go back to It's a Small World. Congratulations to the Sherman Brothers. As the Orange County Register reports, Disneyland iconic It's a Small World song inducted into the Library of Congress Music Registry. Yay! The iconic It's a Small World song that has played daily at the Anaheim theme park for more than half a century has been inducted into the Library of Congress National Recording Registry. It's a Small World was among 25 recordings in the 2022 class of inductees deemed, quote, worthy of preservation for all time based on their cultural, historical, or aesthetic importance in the nation's recorded sound heritage, end quote, according to the Library of Congress.
What took so long?
The Library of Congress, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, who knows, I'm wondering if any of our listeners even knew that this existed, that this registry existed. As it says here, It's a Small World isn't the first Disney song to join the Library of Congress National Recording Registry, which also includes the 1940 When You Wish Upon a Star, sung by Cliff Edwards in the character of Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio, and the 1977 Star Wars soundtrack by conductor John Williams. course. Got to have that. You know, Star Wars soundtrack, yeah. So, yeah, I you know, there should be plenty of more Disney songs in there, but I don't know. But speaking of music, the All-American College Band returns this summer after the pandemic pause. Yay! So as Brady McDonald reports in the Orange County Register, the Disneyland All-American College Band returns this summer for the first time in 3 years after a pandemic pause that left music fans longing for the sounds of trumpets, saxophones, and drums marching down Main Street, USA. The band will once again welcome some of the top students from across the country, joining an already exciting, well, I should say student musicians, not just top students. They're, you know, joining an already exciting summer of entertainment at the Disneyland Resort, according to the Disneyland All-American College Band official Facebook page. This year's band has already been cast, and we can't wait for them to arrive. Specific dates have not been announced for the band's summer run. The Disneyland All-American College Band was forced to suspend the program in 2020 and 2021. Can you imagine, you know, if you, like, imagine being a kid and you're into music and you go and you see the All-American College Band, you're like, hey, I would love to do that someday. And you go to college and you're thinking, hey, maybe I could try out for that Disneyland All-American College Band. And then the pandemic hits and you're just, I mean, not only that, but just college life in general. You know, these people, oh, I feel bad for people who missed out on so much college life because of this, you know. It's kind of a unique experience for them in terms of, you know, they didn't get to do all these things. But I mean, that would be quite interesting. You know, I got to spend a summer in a Disneyland band. I mean, that's kind of a neat experience, you know, to have. And since 1971, the All-American College Band has performed in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle, along Main Street, USA, and in Disneyland's Town Square. So it's been 50 years, you know. They've been doing this. I used to come over to New Orleans Square a lot. I remember that. And I remember when Art Bartner was in charge of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, from USC.
You know, Art Bartner from USC, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Band members are selected from 300 plus applicants each year from colleges across the United States. The hands-on training with world-renowned artists and producers is designed to prepare the band members for careers in the music industry. The band typically performs 5 days a week for 11 weeks throughout the Disneyland Resort, with 21 students from colleges and universities around the United States. Wow. Nice. Laughing Place covered that story as well. Now, here's a story, and it's kind of coinciding with Earth Day. Laughing Place reports on learn what happens to food at Disney parks that isn't eaten. This is a foreign concept to me. What do you mean leftover food? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you clean off your plate?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, they point out that the food cycle begins with menu planning to predict how many meals the parks will serve in the parks each day. This helps prevent food waste before it begins. And any scraps left behind are collected in designated food waste bins. Across Disney parks, food waste is used in many ways. And, you know, they point out that food waste can be used for composting. Don't they just dump it all in the rivers of America? I don't know. At the Disneyland Resort, scraps from the food preparation in kitchens and uneaten food from guests is diverted from landfill and converted, if eligible, into an amendment that helps feed farm animals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those farm animals are getting the expensive stuff.
That's right.
Um, but there's lots of different ways they can do it. Some food is donated, some is converted to energy.
Hmm.
They did that story a while back about converting some of the oil to using the railroad.
Hmm.
Um, so Disney's trying to point out ways that it's being green, and I'm still baffled that anyone would have any leftover food and just.
Oh, they're being green.
I paid all that, and yeah, green for sure. Yeah, I paid all that. I paid all that money for that. I'm going to eat it. Darn it.
Yeah.
So, um, all
Wow.
right. As usual, Mice Chat has updates about Disneyland. One from Mike Kendrick from April 4th. Disneyland update from hugs to hyperspace and secrets revealed. And he points out, join us for a look around the Disneyland Resort as we ponder the return of Hyperspace Mountain. I wonder if any of our Patreons are looking forward to that. A new character in Avengers Campus and the big return of traditional character meet and greets with hugs, autographs, and selfies.
Yeah.
Plus some secret Disney projects, a new way to get to DCA, and more. So yeah, those. I think we talked about this last time. The normal meet and greets are coming back. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it
that
is.
you can go up and pose with the character, give them hugs. Be scared of them if you've got a phobia about the characters.
Yeah.
That's going to be good. And Hyperspace Mountain. I mean, that's
Yeah. Chrissy's looking forward to it.
yay.
So is Christine.
That's another thing. Because Space Mountain is indoors, you can actually do stuff like that. That's another benefit of actually having a show building is you can change things inside. I mean, look at Haunted Mansion, look at Haunted Mansion Holiday and all that stuff. Yep. Mice Chat had another Disneyland update. They said, let's talk about Bruno and everything else. And that was from Dusty Sage, and that was April 11th. And as he points out, beautiful sunny California was a bit too much of a good thing this past week. Temperatures soared into the triple digits. I wonder if any of our listeners were at the park on one of those 100+ degree days, which was much more like the middle of summer than early spring. But that didn't slow down Disneyland's currently feverish pace to return the parks to something a little bit more like what you remembered way back in 2019. I'll take you on a tour of the parks, show you what's new, the status of multiple projects, and we'll look at what's on the way and what's still sadly missing. Oh, and we'll talk about Bruno. So that update's there. People can click through to see it. What say our Patreons in the chat room, Lynn?
Well, back to the characters. Chrissy was saying, Lightning Lane, $30, get a hug.
They said they're not doing that yet.
No,
they said
not yet.
They said not. They said they're. Well, they didn't. They didn't say yet. I'm adding the yet.
Oh, okay.
They said they're not doing that, but how much longer before they do?
Yeah, because John said $30 is cheap for a Disney hug. Don't tell him that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wait till they hook custodial into that. They say you want that bench cleaned up. Just put in for pay $20 and a sweeper will be right over there to clean off that bench.
Right.
Yeah, you won't have to wait any longer for them to do it.
Patrick was saying that princess hugs are a big deal for my 4-year-old.
I would think so. That is, for a kid, yeah, that can be a big experience for a kid that's, that age, right around those ages, basically 7 to 7, 8 years old, especially. It's a great time, and so that's, I'm glad that's coming back. Hopefully they never have to go away again.
John, hug a custodian, 2 cents.
That's overpaying.
Lightning lane for a clean table.
Yeah, the bussers are gonna do that.
Yeah.
Want the restroom stall cleaned right before you go in it? Pay extra.
Enter your card. Yeah.
We're probably giving them ideas. We got to be careful.
I could see them using it for some of the meet and greets, like the princess ones over in Fantasy Fair or Mickey's house. I could see that. Not that you have to have Lightning Lane to see them, but that you could see them quicker if you had it. I could see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Christine
Lynn,
said,
do you have...
Christine
go
said
ahead,
that the custodians are worth more than 2 cents.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Well, in some cases, some of the people we worked with, you would want to pay for them not to hug you.
That's true. Stay away. Right?
Just pay to keep them away from you. No, we work with a lot of great people. The bad ones didn't seem to last very long. We work with a lot, really friendly people.
Yeah.
The sweepers, are generally friendly. They'll talk to you. They'll tell you whatever you need to know. They'll give you all kinds of tips. It's great.
Oh yeah.
But do you have a renovation schedule, Lynn?
I do. Let's go. So these are very familiar. I've been talking about these first few every week, it seems like, or every 2 weeks. Okay, the first one, Finding Nemo subs, no return date. Pirates of the Caribbean, no return date. There's rumors of early summer, so I don't know what that means. It could be June, it could be July.
Wow.
Early doesn't sound like July, because that's kind of like middle. But Blue Bayou closes on the 21st, so they've actually been open currently. But there's walls up around the water. So it's probably not the best experience from what people are saying that have gone. Then we have Tarzan's Treehouse, no return date. And a lot of people are wondering, what are they doing? So that one's been closed a while. And some people that have been watching the construction have said that they don't see a lot going on or hear anything up there. So maybe they're doing it at night. I don't know. Yeah, John was saying Tarzan's supplies must be stuck in supply chain. It's been forever. Maybe. Maybe.
They got to ship them all the way there, to the island. So yeah.
The Silly Symphony Swings will be going down with no return date. On the calendar up to what they have listed on their app here. You spoke about Space Mountain change over to hyperspace. That closes just for one day, April 28th, and it'll be opened up on the 29th as Hyperspace Mountain. Then we have May 2nd to the 27th of May, Animation Academy. So that's what, almost a month. It'll be closed.
That's too long. We need our Animation Academy.
Yeah, I love that place. So that will be down for about a month. It'll come back on the 27th. That's all I have, Ken. For the next.
Well, that's plenty. Mm-hmm. That's plenty. Well, of course, if it's one of your favorite things to do, having it down at all is, a bummer if that's when you're going to be visiting. But, the thing is, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff, and it's hard to keep up with all the changes. And so what do we recommend? We recommend checking out Concierge. Go to Concierge to plan your next Disney getaway vacation, because Concierge keeps track of all that stuff, and they know how to get you reservations. They know all the tips. So check out Concierge. That is Concierge. CIEARS.com. There are magical vacation planning partners. They're so good. Lynn has joined up with them. Now you might not get Lynn as your concierge, but they're all great people, and they will plan your next Disney getaway vacation for you. And it takes away a lot of the stress. You don't have to worry about it. You contact them. It's not going to add any more cost to your trip. So whether you want to go to Disneyland or Walt Disney World or Disney's Aulani in Hawaii or Adventures by Disney or the Disney Cruise Line, contact concierge.com and tell them what you want to do, and they'll get the ball rolling with it. And it seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, they know the changes. It's not going to add any cost to you. Why not have somebody helping to plan your next Disney getaway vacation so you can get the most out of it with the least amount of stress? Concierge.com. Book with them. Book a package with them, like, theme park tickets and a hotel stay, or, week on a cruise, something like that. Book a package with them and tell them that the Sweet Spot sent you. If you book a package with them and you tell them that the Sweet Spot sent you, you can get a special gift. So check out concierge.com, our magical vacation planning partners.
That's right. And yes, you can contact me if you want, but you can also contact concierge too. Either way will work, but you can contact me through any of our social media that we use, or website or whatever. So anyways, I will try to work with you and set something up too. So all right, well, thanks a lot, Ken.
Disneyland, Disneyland, shining star in Disneyland. If you're...
Okay, for this segment, we're going to welcome two podcasters on the show, and we've had other podcasts on the show in the past, but we have not had two women podcasters on the show. And so we're really happy to talk with them. We're going to get to know them and talk about their podcast, and then we're also going to give you some Disneyland tips on when you go to the parks. So I want to welcome Katie and Erin from Rope Drop and Park Hop Podcasts. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi guys. We're excited.
Hello.
Yeah, so glad. I've been listening to your podcast. I don't know how long, but how long have you had the podcast?
We are going to celebrate our 1-year anniversary June 4th.
Okay, I was telling Ken I thought it was about a year.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've been listening probably around that time.
I think, were one of the very first people to ever reach out and say hello to us.
Oh, cool.
And we're super grateful.
That's cool. Yeah, I listen to podcasts at work because I have plenty of time, and not really time, but just I can still work and listen at the same time. So.
I need a job like that.
I know, right? We love podcasts.
A job that works around your podcast listening.
Exactly.
Yep,
My podcast time is limited to in the car usually.
Yeah. Yep. Same.
Driving kids around.
So you have 15 minutes here and there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and something else unique about your podcast. So where are you two from?
We live in Boise, Idaho.
Okay. See, and I always thought that was interesting because I thought I know Disneyland is the closest Disney park to you, but it still seems far away. And I thought, wow, they go so often. I thought that is so cool. How did you get into, going to Disneyland and stuff like that?
So my mother is from Southern California. So we grew up going to visit family out there, and we would just end up going to Disneyland while we were there. So I grew up going there a lot. And then when I became an adult, I just already had a love for it. So kept going. And then Erin and I met through a mutual friend. And for years, we've talked about, starting a way to help people coming from out of state going to Disneyland. Because there are plenty of bloggers and podcasters out there that are local that go a lot. And so we thought we could give a fresh perspective on what it's like to visit from out of state.
Yeah, I like that because it's one thing if you live local, and I have in the past,
Hmm.
to go to the parks, but it's another thing when I moved away, and you have to plan, for hotels. You kind of have to plan ahead more, and so I think that helps because others can relate to your planning and discussion about going to the parks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and on forums, one of the questions we see most frequently is like, what airport should we fly into? And that's something that locals, I mean, they have a good idea, but they're not going to be able to help understand cost and understand all
Right.
of the logistics of flying. And so it's something that we kind of have an upper hand on.
I think not everyone, but a lot of people, I've heard this, think of Disneyland. Disneyland's in LA. It's not.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So they think of LAX as the closest airport when it's really not.
Right.
Well, there is
Um,
the Anaheim International Airport, right?
We wish.
So,
yeah.
I think they just renamed it recently to it's Goofy Sky School now is what they call it.
Oh, right.
All right. Yes.
Exactly. So about how often do you get to go to the parks, do you think?
Well, since reopening in 2021, we were just talking about this the other day, actually. We've been at least one of us has been almost every month since the park has reopened, which is more often than we were going before
Mhm.
COVID
Yeah.
shut it down.
Yep.
Wow.
But we call it work now.
So
Right.
more often. That's
Yes.
interesting. Okay.
Very good. Yeah, I think I got a Magic Key pass. See, when I went for my birthday in November, I upgraded to one, and I think since then it's kind of enabled me to want to go more. I think it's just easier.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Still
It's just
still need reservations though.
Yeah,
still,
it's definitely not a last minute decision anymore. You got to plan
Yeah.
ahead.
But that works out well for us too because we have to plan ahead. We can't just drop everything and head down for the afternoon. So it
Right.
works.
exactly. Yeah. So you fly every time, right?
Yes. When my family was younger, when we had littler kids, we used to drive. It's only about 13-ish hours from here.
Straight through.
And
Yeah.
so we would usually stop in Las Vegas on the way and spend the night
Right.
and then take the rest of the way. But since our kids have gotten older, it's just easier to fly and not have to take so much time off work and school.
And Southern
Oh, yeah.
California is one of the few places that we can get to fairly easily out of Boise. It's not easy to get everywhere, but Southern California, there's a lot of options and it's pretty inexpensive. So
Yeah. Well, if somebody's going to fly, what would you say to them if they would say, "Well, if I'm going to fly, I might as well fly to Walt Disney World"? Is there any? Would you encourage them to go to Disneyland instead, or and if so, why?
We have a love for Disneyland just because it's the original. We feel Walt's presence there. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but
No.
well, and Katie told you that her mother grew up that her mother was from Southern California and she grew up going to Disneyland. I'm from the East Coast, so I grew up going to Walt Disney World. That was our yearly vacation. I lived in upstate New York, and even as somebody who grew up going to Walt Disney World, I still prefer Disneyland. I just think that. I mean, if we're comparing of the attractions that both parks have, Disneyland's are typically superior, and it's just a more what's the word, navigable? Is that a word?
user friendly.
Yeah, the park's just
Yeah.
easy to do. We went to Walt Disney World last year for spring break, and everything is so spread out, and it's just so much harder to do. And so
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of easy and
Park
Disneyland.
hopping is so much easier at Disney. Park
Yes.
hopping at Disneyland is so much easier. You don't.
Well, and even
Yeah.
walking, everything
Yeah.
in Kingdom, if you boil Magic Kingdom down, it's like a zoomed out version of Disneyland. And everything is just so spread out and it's so many steps.
Mhm.
And it's so much closer and easier and compact at Disneyland, and it's still all there.
Especially with kids, right? You have to
Mhm.
get them going, and you have to go all over the place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I like that. Of course. I've been to Disney World once. Ken's been many times, I think, but
Yeah.
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 It's great.
No.
We love Walt Disney World too. Just if we had to pick one, we would definitely pick Disneyland.
It is a different experience.
Mhm,
It isn't
for sure.
like if somebody were to say, well, I don't need to go to Disney World because I've been to Disneyland. It's like, well, not really, or vice versa. I don't need to go to Disneyland. I've been to Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World's got 4 theme parks, and it's like, yeah, but
Right.
when you total up all the attractions, it's compared to Disneyland and California Adventure, the 2 parks there,
There's more attractions in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, and
And I
like you
mean,
said, it's the
really-
original. It's the original, the one that Walt walked and all that stuff. That's just like you
Yes,
said.
That's exactly right.
The one where you can see his lamp and you can feel him, and you can. My husband and my son did walk in Walt's Disneyland footsteps a few years ago, so they got to go up into the apartment, and it's just a cool place. And there's definitely a feeling there that you don't get at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Right. So if you're talking to some friends of yours and they're saying we're going to go to Disneyland, you have any advice for us? What's something that comes to mind right away?
Well, first you got to choose what airport you're flying into, right?
All right, right.
So we definitely have a favorite.
We do. So we
Yeah.
always tell everybody our first choice is Long Beach, and
Oh, it's a great airport. It is.
it's the best. And even people who know the area well will immediately say, "What about Orange County?" And I think that Long Beach is, 4 miles further away from the parks than Orange County, but it's so much smaller and so much easier to get through that it's worth that 4 extra miles.
Mhm. And it's very charming too. It feels very like old school California in the 50s or 60s,
Yes.
which is really fun.
Yeah. I used to live right down the street from there.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I would move there in a heartbeat.
Aaron loves the palm trees.
I do.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and yeah, Orange County is another one that's close because not a lot of airlines fly into Long Beach. There's only a few that do.
I think there's 4 that they service
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
So there's definitely more options with Orange County, but yeah, I think like you had said, Long Beach is definitely more manageable to get in and out of.
Yeah, and Orange County is a close second for sure.
Yes.
And how do you usually get from the airport to your hotel?
We typically use Uber or Lyft.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's super easy. Rideshare is so easy down there. I mean, if we're going with our families, for sure we'll rent a car so that we're able to hit the beaches and do some of the other fun things that are available down there. But if it's just the 2 of us headed down, we Uber because it's so easy.
Right.
Well, that's another thing about Disneyland is if you want to hit like a genuine surf beach, you can visit Disneyland and you can drive down Beach Boulevard to Huntington Beach
Yes.
and Surf City, USA. And,
Right.
Yeah, so if you want to surf, you want to watch surfers, you can go right down there. So.
They are always out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No matter what time of year.
Yeah, even if it's 40 degrees outside.
Yeah. And Disney. So that's the other thing with Disney World. There's a lot more Disney hotels that
Yeah,
there's
sure.
only the 3 at Disneyland, and they're usually a little more pricey. Like there's not the lower range. Like Disney World, they have the moderate or the deluxe and
They have value,
Mhm.
moderate, and
value.
deluxe.
Yeah. So
But Disneyland, they've got a lot of close hotels that are not on property. Whereas it's not the case. Yeah, it's
There
not that
are
way at
some.
Disney World.
I mean, there are some hotels at Disneyland that are not Disney-owned hotels that are closer to the main gates than Disney-owned hotels, which is not a thing in Florida.
no. And you've stayed at. I mean, I've listened to your podcast, and it seems like you stayed at quite a few around the area. I know Howard Johnson's is a favorite.
Yes.
Candy Cane was always a favorite of mine when they were open. They're supposed to open this summer sometime.
I
Yeah,
think they
they've
keep
yeah.
pushing it back, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They wanted to do refurbishments during the COVID times, and they just hit all the the problems of getting supplies.
Supply chain issues,
Right.
apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I've heard I've never stayed there, but I've heard great things because they have their own shuttle that's just for their hotel, and they have
Yeah.
a breakfast, and they have all of the things you would want.
Right.
And it's walking distance, correct?
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
I've heard great
about
things.
same as walking from Howard Johnson, I think.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah,
8 to
probably.
10 minute walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after the remodel, it's probably going to be even better.
I
It'll
think
be in
so.
high demand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they sell our books inside their lobby, so that
Oh,
makes
cute!
it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they have a great book selection there, I should
That's
say. Yeah.
amazing.
Oh.
Excellent reading material.
Yeah,
Yes.
good to know.
But yeah,
Well,
you're right. There's a lot of different hotels, different prices,
Hmm.
right around that area that are walkable, which is something important to a lot of people because they don't want to have to walk too far after walking a ton in the parks.
Right, and those parking rates at the parking garage can kind of be killer.
Mhm.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
nice to not have to drive in and pay for that parking.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, what? See, you and I, we all go to the park year round. Like I don't have to pick a. I'm only going, during this time. But a lot of
Right.
people like to ask, what's the best time to go?
I think we would both agree. I wonder, maybe would you agree too? We love Halloween time. We feel like Halloween time is probably where Disneyland shines.
Hmm.
I know that Walt Disney World, a lot of people love Christmas time there, and Disneyland's great at Christmas, but it's not. Halloween time is the best, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's something that's fairly new. When Ken and I worked there, uh, they didn't really have too much Halloween decorations up. It had some fall things, but it wasn't
Yeah.
anything major.
it's become really, really big, obviously with their parties and everything. And I mean, something that comes to mind for me is if somebody was, if you had like maybe some young adults who, maybe a family with older teenagers, you wouldn't want to do it with little kids, but if they wanted to come for Halloween, hit Disneyland, but they could also try to get in for Halloween Haunted Knots, which is
Oh,
like,
at Universal.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
which is the grand, the Knots. I mean, Universal is great too. The Knots one, Halloween Haunted Knots Scary Farm is
Oh,
like
that's
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
talking
is like
about
the
there.
granddaddy of all of these Halloween events, and it's but I wouldn't recommend it for little kids though. That's the
I
thing.
don't think I'm old enough for Not Scary Farm.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but if you want, if you're like, especially if you're like a fan of scary movies or horror or whatever, you'd maybe want to catch that while you're down here during Halloween time too.
That sounds great. My older boys would probably love that.
And they can go and have fun, and I will stay home.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like people jumping out at me.
I don't, and I don't like being touched. So, and I
Well, that's the thing about the Disneyland version is as much, it's obviously it's targeted towards families, and it's
Yeah.
not.
It's
And
more
it's
of a
not
whimsical-
something that's gonna, it's not gore and and all that. So
my son was describing Haunted Mansion the other day, and he kind of put it perfectly. He said it's spooky, not scary. And I think that that's kind of what they go for. It's a spooky time, and there's spooky things, but it's not scary, which is family friendly.
Wow, yeah, that's true. And humorous too, a little bit.
Yes. Pretty clever.
Yeah. I like Christmas, but I like the time between Thanksgiving and like up to Christmas, because then it gets crazy busy right after Christmas or right around then.
Yeah, Katie braved the crowds this last year. She was there the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yes, for the first time ever.
Will you do it again?
You know what? Honestly, with the reservations in place, I think it was not as crazy as it was in the past.
Oh, okay.
We didn't feel like it was any busier than it was, when we went in September. I did for the Oogie Boogie Bash, and I feel like it was just as busy then as it was at Christmas time. So
Yeah, I'm
who knows
curious
these
this
days?
year.
It's hard to say what's normal anymore. We don't really have a new normal yet.
No. So what? Are you an early riser? Like, do you like to get there well, obviously, it's the name of your podcast, right? Rope Drop?
Right.
And it's our number one
It's our
tip.
number one tip.
Okay, okay.
And to answer your question, no. In Boise, Idaho, I am not an early riser.
Me neither.
We are not morning people, but we are definitely morning people when it comes to Disney. We for sure rope drop every time.
Right.
So that's
And-
our number one tip, especially like you were saying, some people are going, just once in their life or once a year. If you want to get as much in as you can, that is the best tip, is get up early and get there before the crowds.
That's right, because you want to. I mean, it's almost like the first 2 hours. I mean, you could get easily on, 5 to 8 rides, I'd say,
Yeah.
within that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without using Genie Plus.
Oh, true. That's a whole nother discussion.
I know.
There's a life lesson there, where it's like, show up early.
Mhm.
Isn't it the early bird gets the worm?
Yeah.
The early bird gets the rides.
The only thing with that I've noticed, it's, you could do this, but it's pretty hard, especially with kids, is get there early and then stay until fireworks. That's a long time.
You haven't met my kids, have you?
I have not.
Me too.
They are dragging us at the end of the night to the next thing.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
mine too.
Wow.
We trained them well.
That is good. Yeah, my son's like, Dad, my legs hurt.
Every time we go on our family vacation, we always say we're going to take a break midday, and then it never happens.
Same thing.
Stay the whole way through.
Oh, wow. I would imagine if you were staying somewhere like the Grand Californian, you could take a break midday much earlier, because if you're like in California Adventure, all you have to do is just walk through the gate. Of course, if you can afford to do that, you can afford to probably come back whenever you want to. So.
Right. Or you've spent all your money on that one trip and you're never coming back.
Right.
Katie has stayed at the Grand Californian, though, and she has also said that it's amazing when you ride Splash Mountain or when you do Grizzly River Run and you're soaking wet. You can just run into your hotel room and change your outfit.
Speaking of that, I have a tip for that.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard this on a YouTube. Was it Best Life and Beyond? Is that it?
Yes,
Best Life?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Katie and Spencer.
and Spencer.
So she was saying on water rides to carry some flip-flops in your backpack and take off your shoes and socks, put those on, so that way when you get off, your feet will be dry, you put your socks back on your shoes afterwards.
So my shoe at the parks, I
Uh-huh.
wear Birkenstocks, and I
Oh.
wear the rubber Birkenstocks, the EVA
Right.
rubbery ones, 100% of the time. Those are my shoes. So that's my tip: is forget bringing extra ones.
Wow.
Wear Birkenstocks.
And your feet don't hurt, huh?
And my feet do not hurt, and my joints don't hurt, and I'm old.
Wow. No, I don't think you are. Yeah, so if you don't want to do that, I think you could, and you need like shoes and socks. Then
Support, yes.
Yeah.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, I tried it and I thought, this is great. We just sat on a bench after and dried our feet off for a few minutes and then put them on and we were ready to go.
Yes,
Perfect.
and flip-flops don't take up a lot of space, so they're perfect for just throwing in your little bag.
Right.
Well, the importance of comfy shoes. You are going to be walking around all day.
That
So,
makes or
yeah.
breaks a trip, for
It
real.
does.
Yeah, take Band-Aids just in case.
Moleskin.
Or visit the Disney first aid stations in either park, and they are happy to provide you with Band-Aids.
Yep, that's true too.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. So speaking of that, like what kind of things do you like to take with, like does someone in your party carry a backpack or?
Yeah, we usually have, at least in my family, our kids will have their own little backpacks that they're carrying their own water bottle and, snacks or whatever in. And then my husband will carry a bigger backpack with, all the other extra stuff that we need to bring.
Ditto, same in ours. And when we go on our own, we typically just try to pack light. We don't have kids to worry about, and so we try really hard to pack light, throw a few Band-Aids in.
Some ibuprofen.
Some ibuprofen. Reusable straws, which is one of our other favorite tips, because the straws at Disneyland are trash.
I know.
They're
Wow.
paper.
The word.
They're those paper straws, and I swear, they start breaking down the second you put them in. And so we always bring our own straws in our backpack. And
Bring extras and sell them to other people.
No doubt.
we probably could pay for our stay.
Yes, that's funny. Portable
Bad
chargers.
paper straws. That's the way to ruin your day at Disneyland.
Yes.
Yes, portable chargers
Uh-huh.
for sure. We need those too. Do you guys ever use the fuel rods that are available at Disneyland?
No, I just bring my own. Have you used them?
Yeah, I use them pretty
Okay.
frequently.
I haven't ever. I need to. In fact, next time I go, I'm stealing one of Katie's so I can try it out.
Yeah, the batteries go
She
fast.
didn't know that until just now.
Oh, really?
That she's stealing my fuel rod.
Oh. They go
See,
fast.
I can remember
though.
the day. I remember the days when it was like, you wanted your camcorder battery to last.
Oh, yeah.
And now forget that. I mean, we used to have to lug around a camcorder. Now it's like,
Crazy.
well, now you just want your phone battery to last because that's got your camera in it and everything else.
Yep.
And pretty much everything that you need to do all day is on that phone.
Yeah.
Wait times,
Mobile
lightning lanes.
ordering.
Yes.
They've made it so that you have to be on it pretty much the whole time you're there.
Yeah, it would make sense if Apple had ever merged with Disney, it would totally make sense. But you kind of wonder about if there's these holdouts that don't want to use smartphones or whatever. It's like, how do you handle the day now?
Don't know. You know what though? We did the gumball rally in February. Erin and I did, and we were not allowed to use our phones. We actually were in an influencer category, so we used our phones for pictures, to take pictures of other people to be able to post them. But we weren't allowed to use our phones for wait times or mobile ordering or anything, and we survived the day. It was fine.
Have you guys heard of the Gumball Rally? Do you know what that is?
We participated in it, but we.
I thought
Yes,
so.
we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
When did you participate?
The year before. Well, yeah.
It was 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or no, wait. Was it 20? It was 2020.
2020, they had one right
Yeah.
before the shutdown.
Right.
Right. That's the one we did. Yes.
So we did it this year, 2022 in February. But yeah, that was the twist, is nobody could use their phones. And all of the participants were told that if a spotter caught them on their phone, taking a picture, answering a phone call, anything like that, they would just assume that the participant was cheating and they would disqualify them immediately. So we were able to, without looking at wait times, without mobile ordering, without using Genie Plus, we were able to do, I think it was 24 or 26 attractions
Wow.
in 11 hours.
That's amazing.
So it's possible.
It was
Yeah.
exhausting. Though.
It was
I don't
super-
recommend it.
That's, I remember reading before all this, Genie Plus and all that. I think the figure I remember reading was that the average guest would hit 8 attractions in a day.
Oh wow.
I mean, just the average, the guest who doesn't listen to your podcast and doesn't know all the tips, right. So,
Well, and that's, and that's, I think that some people go with the intention of doing all the attractions, and we are really big on our podcast of we talk a lot about taking time to do things that are not roller coasters and are not thrill rides and fun things. Like, we are big proponents of, the Tiki Room and Tom Sawyer Island, and the Animation Academy is one of our favorites at DCA. And these are things that I think if you're focusing on all of the things in Genie Plus and trying to get from attraction to attraction, you're missing out on so much that Disneyland has to offer.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
yeah, I think part of, when we first had our annual passes in the mid to later 80s, it took me a while to work up the courage to get on the thrill rides, the ones that existed back then, back in the dark ages. The Matterhorn was brand new, and
And they
But,
haven't changed the track since.
yeah. and I think I benefited from that because I would do everything else there, and I got to explore things that I wouldn't have noticed if I was just running around trying to get Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain, Matterhorn, and so that was great. I think I agree with you. There's all this other stuff to do, and you just need to look at it especially the animation. I mean, I could, if I'm going to meet somebody in California Adventure, I tell them, meet me inside the animation pavilion, because that's like the perfect place to wait.
Mhm.
Climate control and the lovely animation, music, and visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can spend, if you want to participate in the things that are available inside there, you can easily spend 2 hours in there, in the air conditioning, out of the sun, when it's busy in the parks and people are trying to get from ride to ride. There's some really great things to do in that building. And so, And that's another thing too, when we're comparing Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and people think because of the size, they can come and do Disneyland in 1 or 2 days. You know, we're always, you know, big fans of suggesting make sure you do at least 3. But if you can do more, then you have the time to slow down and do the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail and do all of the things that you might miss if you were really focusing on the attractions, the ride attractions.
Right. And I think
Right, you're right.
going there often kind of forces you to look for other things that maybe you haven't done. Like I mean, I've worked there for 11 years combined, and then grew up going there, and I don't have any memory of going on the canoes. I don't know.
We haven't either.
No?
We joke about it all the time.
Yeah.
Katie's headed down next weekend, and I'm headed down in 4 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know about Katie. I can't speak for her, but I have committed to
Try the canoes.
try the canoes this next time because I've never been on them.
Yeah. Maybe I need to do that.
You'll be there at the same time as me, won't you?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's meet at the canoes, Lynn.
Okay.
We'll meet by the canoes.
Okay.
Got to paddle though. You can't be a freeloader.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna make me paddle all the way.
So.
Well, I think you guys probably need to go on web slingers first, get your arms warmed up,
Oh yeah.
and then you can do the canoes.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Is there anything I haven't done? And I haven't been on Astro Orbiter because I'm not a big fan of like spinning rides. I get.
Me either.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's not a great one.
No.
And I don't mind spinning rides. It's not my favorite.
I haven't been on Casey Jr.
What?
ever.
What?
Oh.
No, that's
I
blasphemy.
know. I know.
She's fired. She's out.
It's on my
That
list
is-
for this next trip too.
Okay. It's a cute little ride, and it's important to the history of Disneyland.
I know. I know. I am handing over my card right now.
She'll
Okay.
remedy it.
Yeah. You'll fix that.
Mm-hmm.
And walking through the castle, it's just always so peaceful and nice in there. Have you-
Yeah, I agree. I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else do you suggest someone do?
Well, one of the tips that we had written down is ways to cut down on your wait time in line for those bigger attractions. We love single rider. So if you're there with adults or by yourself or older kids, that's a really easy way to not have to wait as long in line.
And I think too, you know, if people are planning their very first trip to Disneyland, they may not know that 7 is the magical age. So any child that's 7 or older can ride an attraction alone. And so, for example, Radiator Springs Racers is one of our very favorite single rider lines. We've ridden it as a family before, and I would totally recommend riding it as a family, waiting in line, riding it as a family. But if you've done that before, it's awesome to get in that single rider line. My husband will go through first. Our 3 children will follow him, and then I'll bring up the rear and make sure everybody gets off safe. And we're able to stand in line for 10 minutes as opposed to 60.
Nice.
Sometimes we get to race each other, or sometimes we end up in the same car, so it works out fine.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think I've tried single rider on that. Single rider on that.
Single
one.
rider on that is fantastic, and it's the best at night.
Yes.
Good to know. And they used to have more single rider lines. It seems like they're getting less now. Didn't Indian Space used to have them?
Yep, they did,
Yeah.
and they do not any longer.
Right.
Right.
We also
Gotta use Lightning Lane. Gotta use Lightning Lane, Lynn.
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
That's
I guess so.
exactly what we think it is.
If you could read Disney's mind.
Mhm. We also are big fans of the Buddy Pass, which not a lot of people know about. There are 2 attractions at California Adventure that offer the Buddy Pass. So Toy Story Midway Mania and Monsters, Inc. Both offer what's called a Buddy Pass, and it's where they're trying to fill a row in the ride. So if they have a party of 3 that can fill a row, and then they don't want to hunt through the line because those lines are kind of zigzaggy and it's hard to move far enough back, you can ask for a Buddy Pass if you're a party that would fill 1 row, so 2 or 3, and you enter through the exit, and you get to get on pretty quickly that way too. It's not always available, but it's something to ask about.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And that Monsters Inc. doesn't typically get very long, although lately with Lightning Lane, it has been abnormally long line.
Yeah.
But Toy Story Midway Mania is a favorite, and that line typically gets pretty long during the day. So sometimes that Buddy Pass is a real time saver.
Yeah, we waited, I think last time when we went together, we ended up waiting less than 10 minutes in I think it was a 45-minute line because we used a buddy pass.
Yep. And you get to ride together with that buddy pass. So it's not like the single rider line where you're split up.
I have a question. So I've had people ask me or tell me that they're going to go to Disneyland and they want to go on Rise of Resistance, and they said, we're going to rope drop it. We're going to get there right when they... But then I've heard conflicting things, like other people say, no, don't do that. You'll end up waiting longer. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
So I will tell you my experience with this during that Christmas week that we went. We rope dropped Rise of the Resistance, and they funnel you through Frontierland. In the past, I think people were being able to snake through Adventureland and go around that way, but they've stopped people from doing that now. So you go through Frontierland, and unless you are, an hour early for rope drop, so that would be an hour before park opening, you're not right at the front of that rope drop. You're going to be waiting probably still an hour ish. And the day that we did it, the ride did not open. So they actually kicked us out of line after about 30 minutes. So we spent 60 minutes rope dropping Rise of the Resistance and didn't get to go on it. So that you always run that risk when you rope drop a ride like Rise of the Resistance or Web Slingers. Those are both typically rides that will not open right at opening because they sometimes have to reset them or whatever is going on.
My experience with Rise is that I'll look on the app, it'll say 75 seems to be a general, something that it seems to be a lot.
Yeah.
And we never waited more than an hour,
Yeah, I think they overinflate wait times for a lot of the rides for sure. And I think my biggest tip for Rise is just to wait till later in the evening, and the wait time goes down.
Because they close a little earlier, right? Do they close at like 8?
They do, yes. And it will say on the app when it's closing.
Okay.
So you know ahead of time when you need to get in line.
Which is something we always talk about too. As long as you're in line 1 minute before the attraction closes, as long as the attraction stays up, you're riding.
Right. If the attraction doesn't go down, yes.
Right.
If they don't close the queues off until that park closing announcement hits.
Yep, exactly.
Remember that, Ken? We would be doing our last cleanup at night, and they would close the ride. Say at 9 o'clock, they close off the line, and then you get people. Oh, we came all the way from Idaho, and
I'd say, well, you had 16 hours to get in line.
It's our favorite ride.
We
came all the way here for this ride. Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah. I did have one person I felt really bad for because it was in Indiana Jones, and sorry, I cut myself off there for a second. But what happened, they were as Indiana Jones, and what happened was the way the load area is set up, they were told, well, go back up these stairs and go around over here. And they didn't realize what they were doing. So they walked too far away. And then the attraction closed down. And by the time they realized what they had done, they couldn't. I said, I'm sorry, the attractions hosts are all gone. I mean, couldn't let you on if we wanted to. Everybody's gone. I'm so sorry. It's because that's a bit of a confusing, complicated, building for somebody who's not familiar with it.
Yeah.
But 999 times out of 1,000, it's nothing like that. It's just somebody who just didn't bother to get in line until, now it's midnight or whatever the closing time is. And
they're trying to run and get one last thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's something else that you had on your list there?
I can't see through your hand. We're trying to share a list, and her hand is right in the way. So one of the things that I like to do is if and when you have children. So my kids are 13, 11, and 8, so they're still young, and they're very nice children. But when we get to Disneyland, it becomes an overwhelming of the senses, and it's, Mom, can I get this? Mom, can I get this? Mom, give me this, And I think probably a lot of parents can relate to that. And so we have adopted the idea that everybody gets a budget on a gift card of their own. And we always go on the Disney gift card website and order, whatever character they want on their gift card each time. and put their budget on it. And once it's gone, it's gone. And so each child has their own gift card to spend, and they can spend it however they want. And every time they spend some money, they get a printout receipt with their new balance, and they're able to keep track of how much they have left. And I always, always, always tell parents that, because it has ended the endless questions of, Mom, buy me this, Mom, get me that.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Wish I had known that a few years ago.
Make note for next time, because it works really well.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe I need one of those.
There you go.
Keep budget.
Put your budget on a gift card.
Well, and that's a great thing. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there are ways to get gift cards, Disney gift cards, at a discount. And there is a way to combine all of them onto one card. So you have your one MasterCard up to $1,000. And so it's a great way to budget for a trip, is to buy them as you have the money, get them at a discount if you're able to, and have that money for your souvenir money or for your meals. If you're staying on property, it will pay for your hotel room, your tickets. So there's ways to save money that way, aside from just giving your kids a budget.
Right. Wow. Very good. What else? Do you have any more?
You're pumping, you're demanding the whole.
I like
the
this.
whole.
I know, we're giving away the
everything
whole
they know.
thing.
Right? You're just going to have to come listen to our podcast.
I know.
for some of the-
One more. Well, okay,
Probably-
one more.
One more. Okay, so probably my favorite thing that I feel like a lot of people still aren't utilizing is mobile order. I don't know how much you guys have used mobile order,
Yeah,
but
every time.
it's a lifesaver. And one thing that we tested out last time we went was that red raspberry rose macaron. I'm saying it incorrectly.
The raspberry rose Mickey macaron
There it
at
is.
Jolly Holiday.
My favorite treat at the parks, but it tends
It's
to sell
everybody's
out.
favorite treat.
It
at the
tends to
park.
sell out really early in the day, but you can mobile order it early in the day and pick it up later in the day.
Very good.
So you can set a time for later in the day. So anyway, I see a lot of people still waiting in line at the quick service places and not utilizing mobile order. And I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't figured it out yet.
Time is money. I mean, you've paid a
Yes.
lot of money to be there, and the less you spend waiting, I mean, it's one thing to be waiting when there's something to do while you're waiting. Sometimes there's entertainment, like, before a show or whatever, there might be other entertainment. But it's another thing when you're just kind of waiting somewhere where there's nothing else going on. It's like, no, cut out that wait if you can.
Yeah.
That's money you've spent to be there,
And the Disneyland app is such a wealth of things. There's so many things you can access and so many questions you can answer on that app. And using mobile ordering is so user-friendly that I think it's something people should familiarize themselves with and definitely utilize, because it makes things so easy.
Yeah, and you can put in everyone's order as you're in line for an attraction. And yeah, and
Exactly.
then when you get there, you just put "I'm here," and then, yeah, perfect.
So I have a question for you guys. One of our very favorite topics on our podcast is like snacks and foods. So what is your favorite snack at the park, or your favorite treat?
Oh wow.
Well, I'll just say it. I'll say what Lynn's thinking. Popcorn is of the devil.
Because you had to clean it up.
That's
right?
that's as sweepers. We'll say that popcorn is evil. All right. So are those Mickey ice cream bars that melt and become uber slippery on the floor, and everybody slips and breaks their hip or whatever.
I like hearing about this from a different perspective.
I'm such a cheapskate, though. I try to avoid. I mean, the Dole Whip, of course, is incomparable. There's some version of the Dole Whip is just heavenly, and that's a big favorite from so many people. And
Well, we just did March Madness brackets on our Instagram during March, and we did a snack March Madness bracket, and the Dole Whip won. The Dole Whip was the big winner.
There you go. I can remember years ago, I used to love getting. Oh gosh, they're not beignets. They used to have them. I don't know if they still have them in Norland Square.
The fritters.
Fritters.
Yes.
I used
still
to
have them.
like getting fritters.
At Royal Street Veranda.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they had pumpkin fritters at Halloween time that were to die for.
What? Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yes, they were
Man.
good.
Well, that was mine. The mint julep and the beignets. Those are my.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We love to grab them and hop on the train and go for
A spin or two around the park.
yes.
And get powdered sugar everywhere.
Yes, I'm
You can see a trail through New Orleans Square. Of
I
powdered
know.
sugar. I'm sure you're well acquainted with that as well.
Yeah.
See, churros are wonderful because if somebody drops a churro, it's very easy to clean up, and there's maybe a little churro dust, but that dissipates,
Yeah.
you know. It's not like that popcorn. Oh, my
Oh
God.
my goodness.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
What's one of your favorite, the fast service restaurants?
Quick
Quick
service.
service,
We just
sorry.
talked about this
Mhm.
on our last podcast, actually, when we were wrapping up
did.
our March Madness.
That was one of our March Madness brackets too, was quick serve and sit down restaurants. And everybody's favorite quick serve, what won from our listeners was Jolly Holiday, which I love Jolly Holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
can
would
agree
say
with
that's in the
that.
top. I would say it's between that and Bengal barbecue for me.
And I love Ronto Roasters too.
Oh.
I love Ronto.
Yeah. Have you had the breakfast one?
Yes.
I have not.
Oh,
It's
Erin.
good.
It's on my list.
Yes,
Okay.
she's got 3 things on her list now.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And we're, your podcast, Rope Drop and Park Hop. People can find it where all podcasts are normally, right?
Yep.
And do you have a website?
We do. Our website is just ropedropparkhop.com, and it's just links to all of our social media.
Okay.
On Instagram, we're at ropedrop.parkhop,
Mhm.
and links to, I think, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Cool. We'll put that in our show notes, right, Ken?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. This was very fun.
Yeah, I always like talking Disneyland, especially with fellow Disneyland fans like yourself.
Right?
Yes.
Is there anything
I
better?
know.
The highlight of my
All right. Well, thank you so much again, and we'll definitely have to have you back on.
And
Perfect.
we will have you on ours soon. We'll get together and we'll make that happen too.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that is the conclusion of episode 332. But don't go now.
But wait, there's
Yeah.
more. Wait a minute. This is episode 332?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention that in the introduction, didn't I?
Well, now we're going to have to record the whole podcast all over again.
Sometimes I
wow.
forget to do that. We just have so many great things to talk about. I forget about the current show we're recording. Yes, and that was fun. Thank you to Katie and Erin for coming on and talking about some of their tips for traveling at Disneyland. Check out their podcast because they have many, many more. Also, we have a new review wanted to read.
Ooh.
Yeah. This is just on Apple Podcasts. I'm just reading those. It's the only one I use. And I don't know of any others that leave reviews. But if you know of one and you leave reviews on it, or you have, let me know and I'll try to download that app, and then I can start reading those too. So this one is, again, Apple Podcast does not give you the full title. They cut it off. Always a great listen, I assume. Says April 4th, 2022, from Disneyland Dina. 5 stars.
Oh.
Your show is so interesting and fun. So many interesting guests, too. It's also so great to hear your stories about when you worked at Disneyland. Thank you for all your hard work and sharing with us. Take care, Donna.
Wow.
Thank you, Donna. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you can leave a review if you've been listening to the show for more than a couple episodes and you enjoy it. Go on over to, if you listen through Apple Podcasts especially, leave a review on there. I don't think you have to, like, even if you don't listen to it there, you can still download it, leave a review, and then delete it if you want. But the app, not the comment. But I don't, and if you, like I said, if you listen to another way where they allow reviews, just let me know where that is, and I'll read it. I'll find it. As long as it's not like a subscription thing where I can't get into it, but which there shouldn't be. Yeah. So anyways, go to our website. We have a lot of cool stuff over there. What do we have on our website, Ken?
Oh, well, we've got all kinds of information about the podcast, and we've got our current events show notes that you want to click through to if you want to get the full story on what we've covered in the current events. We also have links to really, really great merchandise. You check out the designs on this stuff, because you can get shirts, mugs, phone cases, even masks if you still want them, with some really great graphics on them. Seriously, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. They are really, they give a good hint of Disneyland past and Disneyland present and things like that. And so if you're a theme park nerd, they are wonderful things to have.
For sure. All right, Ken. Well, that is the conclusion of another great episode of the Sweet Spot podcast.
Thanks for joining us, and spread the word. Tell people how they can listen.
Sounds good. Talk with you next time.